Without mincing words, it's very simple that the media in India is broken. And the primary reason for that, irrespective of ideology, is the revenue model. Look at how much you're paying for your TV cable channel that you're watching news on. Look at how much you're paying for a YouTube video, or look at how much you're paying for a newspaper. Look at how much you're paying for articles that you're reading online. When the financial model is broken, how do you expect journalism to hold power accountable? That is what we're going to discuss. And apart from just lambasting criticism and saying that this media channel is biased against the government, this media channel is biased for the government, we are trying to come at a place where we can think of a different model, potential ways for solution. If that is through micropayments for news articles, if that is through creating a crowd-funded system, that is something we'll find out. So let me start with Soham. Talk about what is your idea for a solution for the media landscape of India.
We're going to talk about media in this country. We have to acknowledge a few things. The first thing that we have to acknowledge is that the current revenue model is so utterly broken that it cannot be used to finance or to fund the ideas of the future. How do we change that? A simple way to change that would be technological innovation that drives a certain kind of content. What are we talking about? We're talking about micropayments. How do micropayments work? For example, if users, consumers of the news, can finally pay 2 rupees, 3 rupees, or 4 rupees per article, and that is seamlessly integrated into the operating systems, into the kind of technologies that we use to consume media, then we can have a situation where you no longer need to pay hefty subscriptions for 5 different newspapers, where you don't need to have consider whether or not you're going to subscribe to this Substack blog, or whether you're going to send this Patreon donation. What you can do is pay per article. You can pay per video. This is going to revolutionize the whole thing because you don't any longer need ad dollars to sustain our media ecosystem. And I think any media that relies primarily on ad revenue, which is what the Indian media does, 90% of its revenue, for example, in mainstream channels like Zee News, like Aaj Tak, all of them rely on ad revenue. We can't have that. We can no longer be the product. The news has to be the product. We have to consume the product that is the news.
I disagree on the micropayment model which both you and Tom are talking about. The primary reason being that it's too much of a hassle, very simply, right? There is this idea of transaction costs, and there are hidden transaction costs here in terms of the number of times you have to keep paying for an article, which is why newspapers came out with subscription in the first place. They realized that you pay a particular amount for a year, for 6 months, for 2 months, and you get access to different kinds of articles, and you get access to everything under the roof instead of having to keep constantly paying for particular articles, right? If that is the micropayment model that you talk about. What I think as an alternative solution is primarily to increase the subscription amounts that we definitely pay, because if you look at the Hindu, if you look at the amount which we pay versus the amount that we consume, and the amount that people are willing to pay is higher than the amount that they actually charge, right? The flip side to this could be that people would be not willing to pay and consume free content. But the moment everyone starts adopting this subscription basis and not catering like Mint, Hindu, Business Line, Standard, all of them creating paywalls, that would mean that you need to pay to consume that particular news or would not be able to consume it. The problem here is that the deep pockets of certain political establishments or certain political organizations which keep funding free media or which keep funding free news outlets. For example, if you look at the last 5 years trends in government spending on advertisement, you would see that the government has been heavily investing in newspapers or media houses which are pro-government and has been actively cutting funds for a paper like Majlis Akbar, which used to get a lot of funds, but has in the last 5 years has been actively cut down when it comes to funding, or even the Telegraph, or even the Times of India in Calcutta. These have been places where funding has been cut because the government realizes the media is an important institution, and that is where the problem lies.
So let's start by talking about how the subscription model, which is constantly talked about, is an unsustainable model, and it only benefits a large established media players. Think about it, right? Why has the New York Times become one of the most profitable newspapers in the world in the new media ecosystem? One would think that that would be the new the sort of the new startup models that would come forward that would rise to the top. That's not what's happened. The large institutional players, Wall Street Journal. Let's look at India, for example, right? The people who can afford to have subscription models are precisely people who put out all different kinds of 15 different kinds of departments they have, 17 different bureaus they have, and they sort of have an institutional brand name. This does not work for most startups who are trying to produce news, most new media organizations, and also it's just not feasible. Think about it. How many subscriptions are you willing to pay? Let's say you subscribe to one newspaper. But how do you go and fund different kinds of media that you consume? Because we no longer consume media the way Oishik and presumably Oishik's grandparents used to consume. That's no longer how we consume media. We consume media through like sort of like the aggregator model, right? How does the aggregator model work? You get one article from one place, you get another article from one place. Nobody reads the Hindu from page end to end. That's why the idea of increasing the cost of the subscription to a point where one person is trying to fund every different bit of the department doesn't work. Today we want to consume media from 15 different places, which comes to us from Twitter, from Google, from Facebook, from different places. A friend sends a article. So what we essentially need is a way to pay for one article.
I think this is something, it's an idea that can work, right? Can we have like an umbrella model where, you pay a particular amount and newspapers come and share their articles on the platform? You can get access to one Mint article, one Hindu article, one Businessline article, and you pay one umbrella subscription, like a Netflix for newspapers, and everyone comes and gives their content. Is that something that can work? I don't know. Let's open it to the panel.
More on the micropayment section, for example, let's say you're paying for one article. I think at a certain point we need to stop paying for articles or news and start paying for the journalist. If supposedly you have this one person who's putting out content and they're paying for that journalist, don't you think it amplifies the salesperson model? You are paying for this one journalist, and maybe there are other journalists in the in the newspaper who are not well recognized. Maybe people won't pay for that. And then you'll have the model where someone who produces more, who sells more, he's supposed to be the better journalist, when that might actually not be true as well. Don't you think at the end of the day, you pay for the journalist as opposed to the news?
No, I don't think that's the case with, for example, I don't know how many of you've heard of Substack. It's become really popular. It's essentially email newsletters that come straight to your inbox. So if you see the revenue breakup of Substack, what has happened is that big journalists who used to work in old media came into like this email newsletter business, and now the popular columnists from old media are now the same people who are dominating new media. That's a problem where you subscribe to an individual's content month to month. What I'm talking about is article to article. The difference there is that an individual might not want to consume everything a journalist puts out, right? I think that's the Patreon model. Right now we have, for example, at the end of YouTube videos, at the end of any segment, or probably at the end of this YouTube segment, Priyam will put one too, like donate to my Patreon. I don't think that model is sustainable in the long run. Patreon can work in a true patronage-based model where there's a king and then there are courtiers. Patreon does not work with crowdsourcing.
I think we can also go for a citizen journalism based model where like places like Youth Ki Awaaz where so it matters who is making the news, right? So the people who the news concerns, they are only the ones putting for the news. So and we can have these small communities or neighborhoods which report their own matters, and they are like crowd-funded. So the people only pay for what they are putting up as the news. So that is a model which we could go for.
Do you think there's a quality problem at Youth Ki Awaaz?
So that's something like you have like umbrella subscription, micropayments, etc. So I think we've missed a lot of the point where a lot of assumptions we made is that we are talking about people like us who read articles.
Sure.
Media is not consumed this way. Media is mostly consumed by the larger mass as primetime news,
Exactly.
and it's comprised as like edited versions of that primetime news sent over WhatsApp, right? And if someone can't watch Z News or Republic TV or
So we were talking about print till now. So you were talking about television. That's
I'm
important.
not
yeah.
even talking about print, because like what we were talking about is of someone who will read a New York Times.
Exactly. So the
Not necessarily,
news
like
is consumed
anything.
by different kind, different
So first we need to
populations.
define our problem. Is our problem the lack of revenue in The Wire or journalists for The Wire or Deccan Herald? Or is our problem the lack of revenue for someone who works at Times of India or Hindustan Times? Second, is our problem a lack of revenue for the field reporter for, let's say, Z News or CNBC or whatever? Or is it so that second problem question is, how do we control content? Because content can be messed up even if regardless of these models, right? Because if I have a 2 rupees per model, right, that guy knows that I can write as much majoritarian, like right-wing biased or whatever left-wing biased articles and only those people will pay $1, $2 for it. In fact, look at how IT Cell like pays people to put out tweets. Right? You can have a world like you. The party can just have like an army of people just buying 2 rupees articles.
Yeah, I
from
don't
us.
think the problem is populism. Okay, so there have always been journalists who write for the masses to sort of
Exactly.
play to the sentiments of a certain crowd that sort of represents a majority. That's not the problem. My problem is that the other alternatives cannot come up unless you have a model where you don't need to pay extraordinary amounts of money to different subscription houses. So, for example, if you have like I understand your problem, which is with, so for example, television mass media. Correct, absolutely correct. We can't apply the same model because unless we go drastically forward in technology, I don't see us how we pay for one prime time show. So I don't think that's happening. What we show, the problem with television is certainly different. One problem that many people don't know about is that we in India sort of had during the deregulation phase of our system, we created extraordinary limits on how much news media organizations, television channels can charge for their content. Try regulations say that you can't charge as much more than like 2 rupees and 3 rupees per channel. That's an extraordinarily low amount, right? And most of the rest of the money that you pay, like for example, if you're paying 10 rupees for Aaj Tak, like 7 rupees goes in distribution costs of various kinds. Like 3 rupees goes to the media house, and out of that 3 rupees, they cannot manage. So hence they have to compensate with 90 rupees of ad revenue, right? So that's a problem of regulation that we need to solve in
Yeah,
this
and
country.
I think what happens there is we need to sort of approach the problem in a more, how do I put it, like awareness kind of way, where you tell people that just because something's cheap doesn't mean it should be.
Exactly. I think it
Yeah.
depends on the medium through which we consume news, because that plays a big role in the kind of news that we put out there. So most of the people, as you said, watch news through the prime time debates, and so very few will want to pay for new media, reading articles on even in print or on their.
But a lot of people do read it. No, I think a lot of people read these things. Okay, though these two are different problems. Both need to
Yeah.
be solved. Okay, because the opinion makers of the country are reading these things, and those things are then being put forward in different ways in sort of mass media formats. So it's not like both problems are like antithetical to each other.
Yeah.
Both need to be solved, and one particularly needs to be solved that he's talking about, which is mass media. I think mass media has to be solved by allowing alternatives to come up, and our alternatives can only come up when companies can charge for their content, which is not allowed by TRAI regulation. So if we have a true if we have a model where a new channel comes up, say News Laundry, which does a lot of great online content, tomorrow wants to come up with a news channel, and it has a deal with a distributor, right? If we can charge 50 rupees for its channel, that's going to be transformative for that channel. It's going to break the current media ecosystem. But we can't do that, right? Which is why I think deregulation
In
of
fact,
a lot of the
like,
media
like
is needed.
deregulate the media. Like,
Yeah.
I
Get
think
rid of-
you need investors who will, whose intent is to keep journalism independent or for the sake.
Utopic.
But that's
Why will they
patron-
do
but that's patronage-based
Yeah.
model.
If I just
Yes.
butt in once.
Like
Like-
Jeff
like
Bezos buys
producers-
Washington Post, which he has done, and then
and then
he
uses
and
Washington
then
Post to
goes
criticize himself.
Yeah, and this is sort of a we create like sort of this simulated media, right, where we have, for example, Rupert Murdoch owning like
Fox.
half of all the right wing media in the world, okay,
And then Fox uses The Simpsons to criticize Fox
and then you have, for example, Guardian, which is owned by this really old trust, okay, which has been always at a loss since at least like till 3 years back. It was always running at a loss, and they could afford that because a billionaire put it in its trust, right? These are not sustainable models. That's why Guardian will always exist, NYT will always exist, WSJ will always exist. Our problem is not that they put out X content or Y content. Our problem is that our average person has no way to prominently access any other content.
Also, I think like what she said, citizen journalism needs to be incentivized. Like a Faye
Citizens
D'Souza-
need to be educated.
Sure.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because citizen journalists can also be WhatsApp forwards. Those two are
Yeah,
a thin
like a
line.
Faye D'Souza
People
kind of
talking
model.
about their own experiences. So we have different sort of narratives where no one else is hijacking someone else's.
I think the important thing here is to understand how the financial model leads to complicit journalism. For example, if television channels do not have money, what it does is that they can create a cliched formula where they'll be like, you know what, I'll have a panel, I'll have one member who's bashing the government. I'll have one member who'll be supporting the government, and just let them come and loggerheads instead of actually having the journalist who goes to the ground and reports from the ground and actually explores the story. Covering one story, let's say if you're covering the Bihar elections, so you go to Bihar like News Laundry did. It actually takes a lot of money to spend 2 weeks in Bihar, speak to people from different demographics, actually get a proper perspective. So it's about breaking the complacent model and understanding where that complacent model leads you to, right? It leads you into a model where you are manufacturing not only consent but contempt. So you're like, okay, these are certain groups that people hate. So let's put every news story under that bracket. Let's look at a minority community, or let's look at a Tukre gang. Let's look at student dissenters. Let's look at artists. Take a story, try and spin it, fit it into that binary, and try and generate contempt, try and generate outrage. So the moment you start financially empowering media, you start giving them money, they will also be incentivized in some way to break out of that model.
Also, another problem I feel with this is that the instant feedback that social media gives. I think the problem is, like, we love democratization, we love citizen journalism, but the problem that it comes to is that earlier, when we used to read a newspaper and an article, say you dislike the article, what were the options available to you, right? You wrote a letter to an editor. That was the idea. What is the idea today? You write and you write backbenchers on the sort of on a YouTube video. This is what you do. There's a profound difference between writing a letter to an editor and doing the latter that I just mentioned. So I think if we have to disincentivize the idea that journalists need to instantly respond to what the person is saying. This is also a problem of the format. If the primary way we are consuming media is through videos, we will have this problem. The more we consume media in print, the slower is the feedback is. So I think we really need to focus on deep literacy and feedback.
I think the problem exactly stems with the people, because journalism is no longer a different, separate institution. Like everyone
Also,
is
like,
almost a
to be
journalist.
honest, like, I think, I mean, sure, you can philosophically say that news is different from entertainment, but it tangibly is not. Like, at the end of the day, the guy is watching the primetime news because it's on at
It has
prime time.
become. It didn't always used to be.
Not true.
Exactly, but now it has become.
But those were different times.
Look
Those
at-
were, we are overstimulated now. There's too much stuff to watch.
Yeah, but that's because of the format. That's precisely what I'm saying. I think a great way to solve a lot of the problems that we have today is simply to ban a lot of video content. I think a great
Also, we have to take into fact how these YouTube or how these media
for the
platforms-
first 18 years of a life, the child does nothing but consume print. I think it's a great way. It's one of the reasons why a lot of us, when we grew up, think about the fact that if we had grown up with a world where we had 1,500 different options and we didn't really need to read, why would we read? And now people can't finish an article. The reason why we might be the last generation which actively had only books, or if not books, at least formats which don't allow for instant feedback. We are the last
I think
generation.
it's really ironical that we are doing a video and talking about how it's important to read. And I think we have to understand that times are changing, and it's not necessary that you have to keep reading, right? It's not
But
absolutely
there's no other way of
necessary.
deep literacy. Give me a way that you.
But is the objective deep literacy? I don't think we need to gain deep literacy for everyone. What we need is basic literacy for everyone, and for that,
But
you
that's
don't
the
need to keep
education
reading
system.
Hindu.
That's not journalism.
You
I
don't
think
need to keep reading
journalism
the Hindu.
has to.
But journalism should not be the stakeholder of literacy. The
They are-
person, the
no,
stakeholder should be
I
the
think it's
stakeholder.
about creating a common basis for facts. Earlier, you may have had different opinions, but you could have agreed across the political spectrum, across channels, that this fact is true. Whether or not it's good or bad, you debate. Today, you can't even agree whether a fact is true or not. right?
Why do you think that's the case?
Because
that is-
simply see journalism as a separate thing. We have to see it.
No, I think
No, I
what
think that's
Soham, what
more
you're
about,
trying to
like,
say is that
social
given that
insights.
we are
It's a problem with the format. It's precisely a problem with the format. Like, yes, we are shooting a video right now, but think of how different this video is in terms of the incentives of why we are putting it out. If we were actually institutional players who had formed, like 5 of us had formed an LLC company, and then we had decided to put this video out. We are amateurs doing a video where we are discussing some content. If all of us had actually had to rely on this video and for videos of this kind for a livelihood, the way we would be doing this video would be very
But
different.
this isn't news. What we are doing here is
Which
opinionating.
is also why not more than 30 people, we hope,
Exactly.
that
So
not more than 30 people might watch it.
when we're talking about journalism, we need to talk about news, facts, what's happening. This is secondary. This is opinion. This is basically video.
But earlier-
visual
Yeah, but for
optic.
this to become news means that 5 of us now need a salary. We need to go to a
But
place
how
and
can
collect
this become
news.
news? We are not
I'm telling you how. This is how it becomes news, because then you put it to an audience who goes like, okay, it looks a certain way, it feels like a certain thing, it gives me information, now I'll watch it. It has to be entertaining. I think
the primary problem that we all have to solve is what are the formats which allow for what. Like there's this famous McKellen quote. He's a media theorist. The quote is, "The form is the message." Okay, like this is an important point. Like if you have certain formats and do not allow for certain kinds of communication. You can't do certain things with letters. You can't do certain things with video. If we are going to create a citizenry, then at least before they have before they are like adults, they need to be presented with a prioritized version of choice. Like if you tell them ki, okay, you have YouTube and you have text, within the next generation, and statistics bear this out in countries like America where you have had prevalence of video content for more than the time that we had in India, deep literacy had eroded. And the erosion of deep literacy means that people can't even pay longer frames of attention to even video content. So nobody benefits really from a world where people don't read.
But how are you saying that deep literacy is?
Deep literacy comes
It's not.
from. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the format that you have with reading, it forces you to do certain things that other forms of content don't make you. For example, when you're consuming reading a piece of news article, right? You have to first of all, for example, visualize the kind of words that are there. You have to pay attention to it. On the other hand, video is something that you can play in the background, right? It just play. You will see primetime debate running in the background. Somebody is eating, somebody is running around, somebody is cooking in the kitchen. All of these things are happening simultaneously. I think we need to break that. You can't do that with. Can you imagine like a text is kept and somebody is running around? You can't do that.